Hello and welcome to Hot Indonesia, the digital platform for smart conversation. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Here is this week's H-I Hotlist. Biz bust. Companies that continued operating during COVID-19 will get their licenses revoked. Too harsh? Playing through. Some businesses continue to operate. We talk with golf course GM Peng and mobile love, why this husband risked a ticket to keep his wife close. Good man. Here are my co-hosts each and every week, working from their homes. Again, Sandrina Malakiano, former TV news anchor, now a political marketing consultant, and Santiago Uno, business executive and former vice governor of Jakarta. Here is hot topic number one, biz bust. Jakarta officials said early this week that they will be revoking the business licenses of 200 companies that ignored coronavirus shutdown orders. Those companies are not considered essential businesses, such as banks, grocery stores, and media operations. The goal is to prevent the spread of the contagious COVID-19. Violators also face fines and prison time. Now, the first crackdown involves more than 200 companies, as I said, 10,000 workers in all parts of the capital. You know, I think the penalties are too severe. Don't punish those who have been trying to keep jobs and salaries. Sandy, what do you say?
Good idea, but really bad coordinations. And the idea is to make sure that people comply with the large-scale social limitations, but the executions is really terrible, and it sends really a wrong message to companies. These companies, some of these companies that were involved got caught in the crackdown, actually got a license by the central government because they have factories out in West Java or other part of the country. And their head office is in Jakarta, and their head office has to continue to be open because they need to work on the license to exports and all other permits. And because their factories is in operations, they need to continue the supply chain. This is what we call how to maintain a very good supply chain. And if we don't have these coordinations between central government as well as the local government, we are going to see situations like this, whereby companies have licenses from central government to continue to open their factories. In particular, what you said, Dalton, for jobs.
Yeah, Sandy, what you say makes sense. Now, you know, maybe just order them to the violators. Maybe just order them to shut down until the May 22nd. Date when the restrictions were extended to, because putting them out of business does them no good, right, Sandrina?
I agree. It goes back to the regulation being implemented by the government. A few days ago, I saw on TV that Sandy mentioned about factories. I understand and I agree with Sandy in terms of lack of coordination. But what I saw on TV was not factories. It was shops selling shoes, clothing, and even bicycle shops. They were still open. And the people who were selling goods there and those who came to look around and buy things were not wearing masks, and they were not implementing social distancing. So there is also a lack of awareness, and I don't know whether I do not believe that they don't understand the urgency of social distancing, but there should be also sterner actions taken, like do not take their licenses or close their shops or give them heavy penalties, but just ensure that they do not open for business before it is safe to do so.
So you say heavy penalties, you mean what, lock their doors or tape them shut? Or, I mean, they're just trying to survive, I'm sure.
Close the stores for the time being. I know it's hard, like my cafe has to close. We cannot accept any, they could sell products online if they have the means. Now it's easy, you can use your handphone to do online sales. But do not open for people to go to your outlet physically, and especially if you do not implement social distancing and require them to wear masks.
Okay, I'm going to ask this question again. We ask it every week. We're in the middle of the second extension in the capital region. You know, in the U.S., at least 40 out of 50 states have begun loosening up, opening up, and they have 1 out of 3 cases in the world. Are we in Indonesia being too restrictive?
I think we are into the zone whereby we are getting the numbers too early to tell, but the numbers is looking like it's moderating. But we should not take a victory lap. The cases that Sandrina mentions, I agree. It's too harsh for people who got caught the first time, got their license revoked. It should be a warning first, and it should be education. We need to socialize and educate, and this is where government, volunteers group can educate and socialize to these people and supply the necessary procedures for them if when the restriction is going to be loosened. But today we need to be vigilant. We need to make sure that we focus on the health crisis. We need to be focused on the science.
Okay, real quick answers from both of you. You know, I'm seeing more traffic on the streets this week, more talk of restlessness, and I'm bored on social media posts. Is there any way to open up, even if the numbers continue to climb? Sandrina?
I wouldn't agree if the government opens up the economy or lifts the social distancing requirements. If it's still, the situation is still as it is right now, numbers are still increasing, and we still have lack of testing. So it's really too early for us now to do such a thing, to loosen up and put down our guards, Dalton.
Okay. Sandy, too loose to open up? Too soon to loosen up?
Too soon to loosen up. Government needs to focus on how the next steps in terms of the health getting done, but also starting to prepare. When they loosen up, they need to start talking to small business like Sandrina's cafe, how we could incentivize Sandrina's to reopen the cafe, what type of facilities that Sandrina would need to make sure that, because Sandrina employs more than 20 people. That's a major, if you have like this 90% plus of the jobs creator not being able to reopen.
Yeah, I hope we can save all the businesses that complied with the regulations, and hopefully they can all come back. Okay, Hot Indo will continue shortly, playing through how one sector is operating as usual. We talk with golf course manager Peng Siong. You're watching Hot Indonesia with Sandrina, Sandy, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, playing through. Warm weather and good health are said to be 2 factors in preventing coronavirus infection, and the sport of golf offers both. The majority of the 37 golf courses in and around the capital continue to operate, but with health guidelines in place. We are joined now by Peng Siong. He's the general manager of the Riverside Golf Club, south of Jakarta. Peng, welcome. You have not closed, unlike the courses directly here in the capital, because you're in a different jurisdiction. You've talked to the government officials, got proper clearance. For those who might say that, why should golf courses stay open? What do you tell them?
One thing that we did prior to everything else, in January, we did a lot of research on this topic. And personally, I've experienced SARS in 2003 when I operated a golf course in South China. And, we operated throughout SARS. It was busy, but this is a different case. It has social distancing involved. So we researched a lot about that. We took in information from the United States Golf Association and the RNA, and we practice it diligently, stringently, and we've I think if you operate with good practices, I think 75 hectares with 50 people, that's really good social distancing.
Okay, what specifically are you doing to do your part in this health crisis? What practices?
We check everybody that comes into the premises, both staff and visitors. Mostly members. Their temperature. The the basic stuff that you should do when you have a virus like that. Especially the staff. Everyone has to wear a mask in the clubhouse. We sterilize all the shoes before they walk into the clubhouse. They wear the mask. Hand sanitizers are in every part of the clubhouse. Stuff like that.
And you also allow only one golfer per buggy.
One
And
golfer per buggy. The reason, and they drive onto the golf course because, then that's social distancing. They have the prerogative to exercise social distancing on themselves. Everybody has to be protected, and I'm sure every individual wants to protect themselves too. So we just giving them the tools to do it.
yeah, driving on the course, that also helps those of us who like to divide between walking and not walking. Okay. Sandrina, a question for Peng, please.
Yeah, Peng, as I've learned just now, your business remains open, but how is it going so far since this PSBB or limited?
I think for Indonesia, my experience here, I was here during the 98 financial crisis. My experience is the key thing for Indonesia is social stability. Okay, so we want to make sure that we balance the two. All right, so since it's not very busy, we've reduced capacity by more than 50%.
So your business is not bleeding?
We are not having the best time. I wouldn't comment on whether we are bleeding, but we're not having the best time, that's for sure.
Okay, Sandy, question for Peng.
Mr. Peng, thank you for joining us. Most businesses have to adapt to what they call as new normal. Basically, business post COVID-19. Now, what would the golfing community, golf courses, players such as me and Dalton have to start to adapt into the post-COVID-19 golf? Would the game change to cater to the social distancing, or you need to speed up the game? That's number one. Number two, do you really have to face a very difficult situations on how to furlough or how to terminate certain employees such as caddies and maintenance staffs?
Okay, those are two excellent questions. Thank you. So recently I wrote an article for the Asian Golf Industry Federation. Okay, some of the things that I indicated are, according to JP Morgan and McKinsey, social distancing is going to be a part of life. There's no running away from that. So how the golf business will change is all the golf courses have to reduce their capacity. There's no question about it, because the people who play golf in the golf courses will expect it. They will go to a golf course that they feel safe at. They don't want to go to a golf course whereby it's packed with everybody, the locker room is packed with everybody. So how the game will change is the locker rooms will have to be limited, the capacity on the golf course will have to be limited, tee times will have to be separated, caddies will need to go through stringent health checks, if you want to use a caddy, and stuff like that. Some of the things that I've indicated in the article. On the second question, as to whether how you're going to look after the welfare of the staff and if you have to let them go, at Riverside Golf Club, we haven't let anyone go. Okay, one of the principles of our corporate culture is we're all in a boat together, and some of us may have to take a salary cut. Like being the general manager, I take the biggest, but I'm happy to do that because everybody is still on the boat. Okay, in future, I think hopefully this blows over after June, and from July to December, everybody's got to revamp their business. So you got to change your business model. You got to find out what your new costing is. If you want to keep everybody, and then you got to reprice your golf course, which I think is not a bad thing for the golf business in Indonesia, because the Indonesian golf courses are actually really world-class golf courses that are sold at a cheap price. So this is an opportunity for them to, rebrand themselves and practice good sanitary and social distancing exercises and compete with all the other golf courses around Southeast Asia. Because if you compete on apples to apples, chances are you're going to be in the top 3 all the time.
Yeah, so very, very good point, Peng, that the business model for even golf courses will have to adjust after this crisis is over. And of course, one criticism, not everybody, of course, can afford to play golf, but we got to remember that a golf course employs an army of people who are very appreciative of people like Peng Siong-Wee who keep their people working, haven't furloughed anyone. Peng Siong-Wee, GM of Riverside Golf Club, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for explaining your operation out there in Bogor. Okay, more Hot Indo is ahead. Why this motorist wins Best Husband Award. You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Here's hot topic number 3, mobile love. This angry man was stopped by police in Bogor because his wife was seated next to him in his car. Health guidelines call for the passenger seat in front to be empty. Among other things, this motorist said he respects his wife and follows his God, and those are definitely priorities. He wins Husband of the Year, but these are not ordinary times, right, Sandrina?
Yes, but Dalton, I agree that these rules and regulations were made with good intentions, based on good reasons, for good purposes, but some parts need to be revised, because if you're husband and wives, you sleep in the same bed, you live under the same roof, you're together all the time, and then in the car you should sit separately, like a driver and the master.
Okay, but they don't know if that's the wife. If you're a policeman
but
outside, you don't know if that's the wife.
But all you need to do during screening is to see the identification card. If it has the same address, then there should be no problem, right?
Yeah, but that takes time to stop people, check IDs. I think it's worth more. And they did let this guy off without a ticket. So when he explained his piece, that they let him get off without a violation. Now, this viral video moment is amusing. We were amused, but it does raise a question. Some are using religion to not follow COVID-19 restrictions. What do you say to those people, Sandy? We talked about the congregations and the gatherings, and this guy said, I respect Allah, so I'm not going to ask my wife to sit. How can we talk to those people, Sandy?
Well, you just need to look at Mecca. How that the Grand Mosque, the 2 Grand Mosques, both in Mecca and Medina, are pretty much closed. And this is how any religions, in particular Islam's, is putting science also. And there are actually guidelines within each separate religions, in particular Islam, on how to deal with pandemic. And pandemic COVID-19 is very strict guidance for us to stay at home, and this is even already being taught by us from the Hadith, which is the story of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him. And we think that the video is so I think hilarious. It makes Noor actually. She was very laughing. She likes the video, and it makes tough for husbands like us to compete with that guy. But I think there needs to be, culturally, it's bad for people to sit at the back, because you are treating your husband like a driver. Secondly, it's romance. Maybe it's their wedding anniversary, like Sandrina is having earlier this week.
If I may cut in, what actually I cannot understand is, it's a car, air-conditioned car, very limited space with a closed circulation. The air circulation is very limited. It's closed. I wouldn't believe that it would be effective even if you sit in front and the other one sits in the back seat. Maybe it should be implemented for public transportation but not private cars.
Yeah, people already sit in the back in taxis and grab cars.
But is it effective? Is it effective?
No,
Do you
you're
believe?
right. So one of those rules that maybe doesn't make sense. This guy probably got a great meal that night, a great sahur, because he did what he did. I think he was just trying to get out of a ticket, but he made his point, and we're talking about it. Okay, it is feedback time now, and we want to hear from you wherever you're watching us from and however you're watching us. Eunice posted this on the YouTube page of our partner TV1. The uncertainty over COVID-19 is high. It's not like popping your pimple. I'm not sure what that means, but just as unpleasant, Eunice. This one is from, we had a Facebook posting from Mayor in Hawaii. Yes, we have our fans there. Good knowing what's happening in other parts of the world. We are all connected in some way, Mayor. Mahalo for watching. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email us at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or comment through our Hot Indonesia or TV1, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final word, Sandrina.
Yeah, again, we have been hit by very sad news after Ashraf and Glenn a few days ago. Indonesia lost another very notable, famous figure known as the godfather of broken hearts. Didi Kempot passed away on May 5th, so my heart goes out to his families and his millions of fans. He will definitely be missed, but his music, his Javanese love songs will remain alive in our hearts.
Okay, final word, Sandy.
Rest in peace, Didi Kempot. I will continue to listen to your Campur Sari song during my joggings, but yeah, you will be missed. I want to talk about something more serious which is the testing, tracing, isolating, and treating. We need to ramp up, guys, on testing. We are way low in terms of testing compared to other countries. So it is time for a united front, government, businesses, volunteers like us, to put more testing. And ideally, if we could get 50,000 tests a day, that would be ideal for Indonesia. And until we get these testing situations under control, I think we need to be really guided by the medical teams to tell us when we could relax the restrictions. Be safe, guys.
Okay, a call to action from Sandy and Hot Indonesia. And my final words. You know, social distancing has raised concern that we will lose touch with everyone. Yeah, I miss the human contact, but in some ways, I think this crisis has brought people closer together. I mean, aren't your family and friends talking longer with you when you make a phone call with them? Aren't you getting more video calls than ever before? In this WhatsApp, Line, WeChat world, adversity may be helping us to rediscover each other. And that is Hot Indonesia for this week. For Sandrina Malakiano, Sandy Agono, and me, thank you for watching. Please join us again next time.